Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another session of Option Wednesdays. Today's topic is how to trade options on expiry day. So it's basically a trade setup for the option expiry. Now, as most of you have known, that during an expiry session, the volumes spike up drastically. So a lot of people come into the market saying, "Hey, this 10 rupees option can become 100 or it can double. So what's the max I'm going to lose?" However, there are enough participants like the writers who wait for the option to go to zero, and there'll be few of them who are arbitrageurs who look at slight deviation in option pricing. So there are various participants and which contribute to the volume spike on an expiry day. However, most of us go into the expiry trade with the view that the market might move up drastically on either side, and we could make a profitable trade. But what are the data points that one has to look into when going into an expiry trade? Since these trades are critical in the sense that the data and, for example, even the Greeks that contribute to the option premium can go haywire on an expiry day. And as you all know, during expiry day, especially if the market is volatile, the option prices spike up and down in a haphazard manner. So let's go ahead with today's presentation and see how we can aid you guys to have a profitable expiry session. So the first critical part is, how does the option price behave? What is the option behavior? What does that mean? Mostly on a regular day, the option prices may not move that much. तो बेसिकली ऑप्शन प्राइसेस जो है ऑन मंडे या ट्यूसडे इतना वेरी नहीं होता है. जैसे कि अगर एक्सपायरी के दिन आप ट्रेड कर रहे हो तो ऑप्शन का बिहेवियर थोड़ा ऊपर नीचे हो सकता है. कभी कभी आपको वो प्राइस भी नहीं मिलता है. ये क्यों होता है और इसके पीछे क्या क्या डेटा पॉइंट्स है, कौन सा ग्रीक्स ये ऑप्शन बिहेवियर को इम्पैक्ट करता है, ये सब देखेंगे हम लोग. Market analysis is basically the macro structure is what I can say. For example, is a sector going up, or heavyweights like Reliance or HDFC, are they moving up, which contribute significantly to the index, and in return the index moves up, and then your option prices also follow the same pattern. Strategies, are you a buyer? Are you a seller? What kind of strategies are you comfortable with? अगर आप एक्सपायरी के दिन आप ट्रेड करना चाहोगे तो कौन सा स्ट्रैटेजी इस्तेमाल करोगे? आप बायर हो या सेलर हो मार्केट में, ये भी इम्पोर्टेंट है. और अगर आप बायर हो तो क्या डेटा पॉइंट्स देखेंगे, और अगर आप सेलर हो तो आपको कौन सा डेटा पॉइंट्स देख के आप उससे इस्तेमाल कर सकते हो कि आपका ट्रेड थोड़ा प्रॉफिटेबल हो. Risk and money management is the most important factor, whether it is the expiry day or any other day. Maintaining a stop loss and is one of the most significant part of risk management. Not only that, when you pick up a trade, what is the kind of, how many lots do you do? Whether you're, again, depending on whether you're a buyer or a seller, the lot size may vary. And at some given point of time, since it's an expiry day, you might increase your risk. And if you go, take a loss in the first trade, would you go ahead and pick up another trade? Is market psychology. So these are the aspects which we will be discussing. And finally तो आता है ट्रेड एक्सिक्यूशन. ट्रेड एक्सिक्यूशन में आपको अगर एटीएम खरीदना हो या ओटीएम या रेंज बाउंड स्ट्रैटेजी, ट्रेड एक्सिक्यूशन, ये सब चीज़ में ध्यान देना पड़ता है. तो लेट्स कैरी ऑन विथ what we are going to do today. Today's discussion is basically about most importantly, what are the Greeks that you will look into? Now, as you know, you have the deltas, gamma, rho, all these Greeks. But how many of them are important for expiry day? That is the most important thing. Are all Greeks important, or only a certain Greek is important, or a combination? What is important? And market analysis is nothing but simple tools. For example, how do you see open interest? How do you gauge PCR? And these will vary because it is the expiry date. मार्केट एनालिसिस में आपको शायद ये भी देखना पड़ेगा कि अगर आप टेक्निकल चार्ट्स भी फॉलो करते हो तो वो सपोर्ट या रेजिस्टेंस के पास है या नहीं। फिर आप ऑप्शन चेन का एनालिसिस भी करना है क्योंकि एडिशन किधर हुआ है और अगर रिडक्शन हो रहा है कई इंपॉर्टेंट कॉल या पुट में डायरेक्शन उधर से मिलता है आपको मार्केट से। Trading strategies is, again, as I said, depending on whether you are a buyer or a seller, and also if you're writing calls and puts on both the sides because you want to eat the premium. Those are aspects which we will discuss in the trading strategies. And of course, risk management is something that I already brushed upon. And finally, we'll have the Q&A to answer your doubts. So the first and most important thing is the option behavior. What are the factors which affect the option premium? Most of you guys who have attended our previous sessions would have known and seen this slide probably in a different presentation and known the intricacies of each aspect which affects the option premium. तो ऑप्शन प्रीमियम को कौन सा फैक्टर्स इंपैक्ट करता है? फॉर एग्जांपल, स्पॉट प्राइस जब मूव होता है तो ऑप्शन प्रीमियम कितना मूव होता है? अगर आप एटीएम खरीद रहे हो तो कितना मूव होगा? अगर आप ओटीएम खरीदते हो तो वो कितना मूव होगा? स्ट्राइक प्राइस जब भी आप एक्सपायरी के दिन ट्रेड करोगे तो एटीएम ट्रेड करना बेहतर होगा क्योंकि शायद अगर मार्केट आपकी डायरेक्शन नहीं चले तो आपका नुकसान भी नहीं हुए उतना। Time is a significant factor because on an expiry day, you really don't have time, which we'll come to in the future slides, because time will go to zero by 3:30, and there's absolutely no theta value, as I can say, in an option premium. Risk-free rate. Now, risk-free rate, if you're trading on an expiry day, it wouldn't matter so much, even if there is a hike by the RBI on it or anything like that. And we'll come to that a little later. Dividends, unless you're trading stock options, this will not have a significant impact on the index options. Volatility is another important aspect. You've all seen in the recent past where vols had dropped down to maybe 10 or 11, and if there is a sudden spike, would it affect the option premium? Now, just because it is expiry day, would it affect, and how much of the effect will be for the expiry day options is something that we are going to see in this presentation. So as I mentioned, the important Greeks are delta and theta and vega. These three are important because for the expiry day, this will have a major impact. The rho, which is the risk-free rate of return, will not have a significant impact because the time to expiry is just 1 day. Suppose you are trading an option which is 3 months ahead or 6 months ahead, then the interest rate would have a significant impact on the option premium. But since the expiry day is tomorrow, for example, Thursday, you will not have a major impact of rho on the option premium. Okay, so as I mentioned, delta, the sensitivity to spot, how much does the option premium change? So option premium कितना मूव होगा अगर आपका स्पॉट लेवल चेंज होता है, ये डेल्टा बोलता है। और ये सब एक्सपायरी डे हो या नॉर्मल ट्रेडिंग डे डेल्टा एक सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट ग्रीक है। थीटा जो है ये टाइम का हिसाब लेता है और एक्सपायरी के दिन तो हमेशा थीटा डी के ज़्यादा होता है कंपेयर टू फार डेटेड ऑप्शन। Volatility, how sensitivity is volatile to an expiry day. If the volatility spikes from, let's say, 12, which is today, to maybe 14 or 16, will it have an impact on the expiry day option premiums tomorrow? We'll discuss about that in the coming slides. And gamma does not have a major impact on the option premium only because you're trading on the expiry day. And rho, as I said, the premium will not have an impact. If you are trading a 1 year option, yes, it will definitely have an impact because the risk factor is higher over there, whereas the risk factor to an expiry day, which is probably tomorrow, is hardly anything. And that is why rho will not have a significant impact. So we will be discussing about delta, theta, and vega in detail, and how they would, impact the option premiums. So delta, let's say the market is at 19,600 and the walls are at 11. The ATM, let's say the 19,600 option delta will always be 0.5. Why is it 0.5? Because let's say someone asks you, where is Nifty going to end tomorrow? And what is the probability that the Nifty will end at 19,600? The chances are 50-50, right? It can go down to maybe, 19,550 or even can go to 19,650. So because the chances are 50-50, the delta is 0.5. However, let's say the market is trading at 19,600 today, and someone asks you, will it close above 19,400 tomorrow? So as you see on the left quadrant, on the higher square, you would see 1. That means the chances that the Nifty will, close above 19,300 and 400 is higher. That is why the probability is close to 100, that it's a sure shot thing. However, the VIX is at 11, right? Let's say the VIX spikes to maybe 50 or even 100. Then what happens is your range becomes larger. So the Nifty can actually even close at 19,500 or even at 19,700. So what really happens in delta is the delta of 19,700 also becomes 0.5 and the delta of 19,500 also becomes 0.5. Okay, because the probability of it settling there is 50-50, and the put option delta is always taken as negative. And in this slide, as you can see, it is the opposite direction of the call delta. So which means that what are the chances that Nifty would go down and settle at 19,400? There is no major chance because the walls is at 11%, and the Nifty can move closer to maybe 19,550 on the lower side. So what you have to remember is what is the probability that your spot level will close at, and that determines the delta as such. So irrespective of whether it is the expiry day or on any given day, delta does play a significant part. However, what you have to keep in mind is that during expiry day, if the wall is very less and there's less volatility and there's no movement in the market, that means the probability of it settling at 19,600 is higher. And someone who's bought, let's say, the 19,700 call or the 19,800 call, the chances are that the option will, end at 0. Okay, so this is the significance of delta, and it is very important that when you trade options, especially on expiry day, this basically helps you even to choose which strike you need to buy when trading on the expiry day. Okay, so moving on, to the theta. In theta, what really happens is you're playing against time if you're a buyer of the option. Okay, so let's say the Nifty is at 19600 and the 19600 call option for tomorrow's expiry is trading at 100. Okay, now what happens is today the market closes at 19600. Tomorrow morning the market opens at 19600 without any action. You will see that the option prices has deteriorated. Let's say it would have gone to 90 or 85. Why is this happening? Because of the overnight time decay, and from 9:15 to, if the market is at 19600 throughout the day or within a small range, you're going to continuously lose the time value. And if it settles at 19600, that option would probably become zero. However, let's say you bought an option, a far dated option, let's say of a November or December end, and you pay a significant higher amount of premium, let's say at 350 or 400 rupees. What happens after a day? Let's say you paid 400 rupees today for the 19600 option of the December series. What will the option open at tomorrow if Nifty opens at 19600? The decay may be very little. It may be at 398. You may lose 2 rupees. However, because tomorrow is expiry, on your immediate option, you're going to lose 10 or 15 rupees. So you see the theta decay in an option which is to expire tomorrow or at the near series is going to be much more higher, and especially on expiry day, it is going to erode very fast if the index does not move. And again, as I said, this is important so that even though you have bought an option and you think it might go up, it may not. The markets might still be there, and you might still lose your whole option premium. Vis-a-vis, if you're a writer, you would hope that the market does not move anywhere and it expires at 19600 or below if you're a call option writer. And here, theta is your friend if you're a writer of option. Okay, so you see, if you're a buyer, it is against you, and if you're a seller of an option, time is your friend. So the next most important Greek is the Vega. Now, the volatility at present is around 12. However, let's say it spikes to 20 tomorrow. How much of an impact will it have on your option, considering tomorrow is your expiry? So, will it have a significant impact? Not really, because tomorrow is your expiry. However, if you're trading the long dated option, let's say go back to the example of December expiry, then what happens is, because the volatility has increased to 20, the options premium spike. Why? Because volatility is nothing but the risk factor. And what happens is, as the time increases, from now to December, the chances of a risk element is higher, and that is why the impact of Vega will be higher on the long dated options vis-a-vis an option which is going to expire tomorrow. Okay, this is another important aspect which you have to keep in mind. So these are the only three Greeks that you have to be patient and look into before getting into any of your trades. And again, gauge whether you're a writer or a buyer, because these have different impacts if you're a buyer of an option, and different impact if you're a writer of an option. Right. Moving on from the Greeks, market analysis. So, market analysis. What are the tools that you need to look into? These are mostly on the derivative data side. So, for example, the option chain analysis. So, option data. What are the things that we, at least when we give out a trade, what are the things that we keep in mind? One is, of course, the series selection. We, however, come to the newer series, which is the weekly expiry, and hence you really don't have the liquidity or the volume issues in that. Then the other significant part is the open interest level. Open interest, whether there are significant OI concentration in calls or puts. जब भी आप ऑप्शन डेटा एनालिसिस करोगे तो ओपन इंटरेस्ट में आपको कॉल्स किधर ज़्यादा राइट किया है और पुट्स किधर राइट किया है और मैक्सिमम ओपन इंटरेस्ट कॉन्सेंट्रेशन किधर है और change in open interest, whether there is an addition or subtraction in the open interest also holds a significant of importance, because on expiry day these are the key variables that you have to keep in mind or keep a watch out for, because these changes will give you a direction through which side the market might move forward. Then the key strikes. Significant OI change will also help you determine which strikes to get into. And since it's expiry, we would ideally go with the ATM calls or puts, depending on which side of the market you want to trade on. Technical levels, आप कई जन चार्ट्स इस्तेमाल करते हो, और सपोर्ट और रेजिस्टेंस जो है ये यूजुअली 5 मिनट्स या 10 मिनट्स टाइम फ्रेम से इस्तेमाल करोगे, और क्योंकि ये एक दिन का होता है या एक्सपायरी दिन का ट्रेड होता है, तो आइडियली इंट्राडे चार्ट्स और 10 या 15 मिनट का चार्ट लेके आप सपोर्ट और रेजिस्टेंस को डिटरमिन कर सकते हो. एंड फाइनली कंक्लूजन इज द ट्रेड सेटअप. Before you execute the trade, these are the parameters that you will have to keep in mind. And of course, we'll go in detail with how to, look into the open interest levels. And from there on, you will have a basic idea when some changes happen in the open interest, how to gauge those. So this is an example where, we're looking at the option chain on NSE side, and we know that the maximum OI on the call side was at 19,600, and on the put side it was at 19,500 and 400. Okay, so there were multiple support levels at 19,500 and 400. तो ऑप्शन चेन में हमको ये पता लगा कि 19,600 में कॉल की मैक्सिमम OI थी, तो शायद ये रेजिस्टेंस हो सकता है, और सपोर्ट में पुट्स में 19,500 और 400 में बहुत OI concentration था. However, what we also see is what was the change in open interest, whether there was an addition or subtraction. So in this slide, you see there was a significant amount of OI change on the call side, and it was definitely more than the put side. However, what happened was, as the day progressed, the change in open interest showed a decrease on the call side, and we saw that there were more put writers. Okay, so they were more confident that the market would go up, and that is why there were a lot of additions on the put side. And so we see in the next aspect, what really happened was there was a reduction in the call OI, and there was an increase in there was a significant change in the put OI. And similarly, what happened was the market also changed its direction. You see, so this is where we saw the change in OI. So these small changes have a significant impact, right? So please adhere to these changes and see whether these are continuing in process. So, for example, if there is a slight change in OI and there's nothing happening after that, so probably the market will still be in that range, and there won't be a significant movement on either side, right? So OI analysis is very important, especially during expiry day, and also on non-expiry days also you should have you try doing these studies and see how it impacts the market. And this will carry you will give you a another skill set which will help you gauge the market in the short term basis, on the intraday basis. And especially in our team, we definitely do and play in give importance to this data point, because we have seen that this adds along with the other tools. This is a significant tool which we use to analyze our trades, or rather to give a trade. So मार्केट इंटरनल्स, हाउएवर मार्केट इंटरनल्स में क्या होता है कि कौन सा सेक्टर पार्टिसिपेट कर रहा है. अगर बैंकिंग या आईटी जो हैवीवेट्स है उसमें वो स्टॉक्स अगर ऊपर आते हैं तो मार्केट का डायरेक्शन चेंज हो सकता है. सपोज देयर इज अ सिग्निफिकेंट buying interest in Reliance or a HDFC or even an ITC, then you know that the market might change direction, or if it's a negative market, it may halt there, and you might see a you know an uptick from there. So market internals gives you a broader view of the market. It helps you, especially if the dynamics are changing during intraday. It has to be from the heavyweights or important sectors. So even on our side we have the heat maps and things like that, so you can gauge which are the stocks which are going up, and the sectors which contribute to the nifty. And if they are going up, that means the nifty is going to follow it. So market internals are something of that importance. Technical and support, yes, a lot of people see charts. What we saw on this particular day was towards the close of one day prior to the expiry, we saw that there was a huge amount of buying interest in the banking stocks. However, the OI concentration was both at a similar strike rate. But what happened was, on the next day, since it continued to leap ahead, the call writers gave in. So option writers also go wrong. So this was a classic case where the option writers, which are the call option writers, didn't have a great expiry session, because again, you should have seen the market internals on that day and then taken a call on whether to go long or short. तो बहुत लोग टेक्निकल एनालिसिस और पैरामीटर्स यूज़ करते हैं, बॉलिंजर बैंड या सपोर्ट और रेजिस्टेंस लेवल देखते हैं. ये एक एडिशनल टूल है जो ऑप्शन डेटा के अलावा ये टूल इस्तेमाल करने से एक आपको एडेड एडवांटेज मिलेगा. एंड इफ़ यू आर गुड एट टेक्निकल एनालिसिस, दैट इज़ डेफिनेटली a stronger point where you could limit or increase your profitable trades. Right? Strategies. What are the strategies that most follow on an expiry day? Single leg are, first of all, what is your outlook? पहले तो आपका आउटलुक मार्केट में क्या है. अगर आप लॉन्ग जाना चाहते हो, या मार्केट ट्रेंडिंग है, या रेंज बाउंड है, या नीचे जा रहा है, ये सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट है. Having an outlook is solves 50% of your efforts. Once you get the direction right, then it's all about choosing the right strike, the stop loss, and which strategy to use. Suppose you think the market is trending, but it would only move 100 points or something like that. You could use a bull call spread, or you could even just buy a call option. And if you're an option writer, you could just go ahead and write the put options, right? Money flow. Do you want to pay, or do you want to receive? That means, are you a buyer where you pay for the premium, or are you going to, get credit and eat the premiums if you're a writer of the options? Again, based on open interest, let's say बैंक निफ्टी में 44,000 और 43,000 में है, तो शायद आप 42,500 और 44,500 के कॉल और पुट दोनों लिख सकते हो. This is a strategy where a short triangle where you go ahead and write both the calls and puts, and in the hope that the market, be trades within the range, and of course, based on the previous data points, you will have to gauge first as to whether it is a range bound market. Then again is your single leg or double leg or multi leg. Usually on an expiry day, you may not go for the multi leg strategies unless there's an event or something like that, and you want to hedge all sides of your position. Right. So this gives you a rough perspective of all the strategies that are there and which are applicable. So you have the debit strategies and the credit strategies. So long call is, what is your view? The outlook should be bullish, and what is the risk? Since you're only playing for the premium, the maximum loss would just be limited to the premium amount. However, if you're a writer of an option, so the loss can be unlimited if it goes against you. तो ये जो है स्ट्रैटेजी, सब स्ट्रैटेजीज ये पेज में है. अगर आप राइटर हो तो आपका लॉस तो अनलिमिटेड हो सकता है, स्पेशली एक्सपायरी के दिन. कभी कभी हम देखे हैं कि मार्केट 100 या 150 पॉइंट खींच लेता है, और अगर आप रॉन्ग साइड पे पकड़े गए तो आपका लॉस भी इतना बढ़ता है. सो this is gives you the strategy and the risk profile associated with it. But most people who come into the expiry trade come and usually buy or sell options, single leg mostly. A few do short straddles and short triangles, depending on their risk profile. And yes, it is very important that you know your risk profile, especially when trading options. And even though, if you're a buyer of options, and even if it is an expiry day, we would still recommend you to follow your stop losses, because you will be alive for the next trading session rather than allowing the option to expire at zero. So always keep in mind to, irrespective of whether it's a buyer or a seller, or even if you're doing strategies, even at a strategy level, please keep a stop loss. So risk and money management. So as I said, one of the most important thing is maintaining a stop loss. Other than that, as I said, predicting the underlying. Once you predict the underlying, which means you come up with which side the market is going to go, कौन सी तरफ market जा रहा है, अगर ऊपर या नीचे या range bound है, ये predict कर लिया तो आधा काम तो हो जाएगा आपका. So 50%, I think you should spend enough time to analyze which side the market is going, because once you gauge that, then the rest of the steps become a little more easier. Okay. Second is ignorance of position Greeks. So, the Greeks that I told you, the delta, theta, and vega. Theta, especially when you see that the option prices are eroding, because the market is either going against you or it's not going anywhere. Most people don't understand the concept of the time value, which is associated with the option price. And you only come to know once the option expires at zero, and the market is there only, or at a statutory position. Strike price, especially in expiry day, बहुत लोग आते हैं और बोलते हैं 10 रुपए का ऑप्शन 100 रुपए हो सकता है. Yes, it can happen that a 10 rupee option can become 100, but the chance of you losing that 10 is higher than you making it 30 or 40 on a continuous basis, right, on every expiry. So choosing the strike, we usually go with the ATMs or slightly ahead of the ATM, maybe 50 or a max of 100 points, because we know that the theta decay will be higher, and if the market does not move in your direction, the chances that the option would expire at zero is higher. Position sizing. Just because you're a buyer of options, and you don't go ahead and buy because the option is cheap. The option is never cheap. Keep that in mind. Because everyone, even if it's a 10 rupee option, it has certain value, and that for the writer, that 10 rupees also carries the risk, and that 10 rupees is because of a certain aspect, maybe because of it just has the theta value and nothing else, right? So no option is cheap. So make sure you keep that in mind. Position sizing is, let's say you're trading 10 lots on every day, on just because it's expiry and you think the option is cheap, you to go ahead and buy 25 lots. So position sizing is very important. कॉम्प्रोमाइजिंग ऑन स्टॉप लॉस, जैसे मैंने आपको बोला कि स्टॉप लॉस बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। स्टॉप लॉस के बिना ट्रेड ही नहीं लेना आप, अगर आप बायर हो या सेलर हो, स्टॉप लॉस बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। इवेंट्स एंड अनएक्सपेक्टेड न्यूज फ्लो, usually let's say on an expiry day you have some major announcement. If you think that the announcement is going to hamper your position, first of all, again, position your sizing. Take a less number of lots, or take a smaller quantity. And let's say the market moves against you after the event, it is better to come out of it and trigger your stop losses, rather than hold on with the hope of recovering the money, because tomorrow is a brand new day and you can always have new opportunities. Exiting at the right time, yes. Especially when trading options, people think that, let's say you buy an option at 100 rupees, and even if it's at 125, people don't square off. They say that, okay, we'll keep it for 150 or 200. And this is where things can go wrong sometimes, and that 125 can come back to 90. So you book partial at various stages, or push your stop losses up, and ride the trade is also what you can do. And exiting at the right time also means, अगर आप गलत ट्रेड में घुस गए तो आप इमीडिएटली स्क्वायर ऑफ करो, क्योंकि ये ट्रेड बचा के आप और एक बार मार्केट एनालिसिस करके, अगर आपको कुछ ट्रेड समझ में आता है तो वो ट्रेड ले सकते हो. Hope trading, ignoring data and hoping that everything is going to be, market is going to recover, that after buying a 100 rupees option it come to 10 rupees and you still hope that it will come back to 100. It has happened, and it is not necessary that it will happen over and over again. Reconciliation with losses, keep a stop loss and make sure you're disciplined, because that will take you a long way. Revenge trade, अगर एक ट्रेड गलत गया तो अगर आप 10 या 20 रुपए गवा गई, तो रिवेंज ट्रेड मतलब और एक बार ट्रेड करना कि विदाउट मार्केट डायनामिक्स या विदाउट डेटा देखे कि वो 20 रुपए पाने के लिए और 10 रुपए खो सकते हो. तो डोंट गो इन फॉर अ रिवेंज ट्रेड. Don't also average options. Averaging options may have given you a bit of relief in some trades, but will on the longer run it's not going to work so or rather every time it's not going to work. So keep that in mind. Don't try and average options, right? So rules that we follow, or rather I follow, I never carry over trade. We are trading intraday options, so there's no point in carrying over the trade, because the market dynamics and the data points will be different on a different day. So if you have a viewpoint about the market today, it is not necessary this will hold good tomorrow also, especially while trading options. Okay, book partial profits and reduce risk once they are in green, which is what I told you. If you buy an option at 100 and it comes up to 130, 140, square that position, take that profit. Exit when in doubt. If you think the market is not going in your direction, that is the most important thing, that one gets out at the right time, when you when you gauge the market wrong and or have chosen a wrong strike price, so get out of it, do your market analysis again, look at your data points, and then get a fresh trade. Pick up singles rather than hit a sixer in every trade. Yes, this is for a lot of people who come into the market and look at options as doubling your money. Yes, it might happen once or twice, but it's better that you get that 10, 20, or 30 rupees or 40 rupees, and rather than waiting for your option to double every time. Adhere to stop losses. Stop loss बहुत important है. स्टॉप लॉस आपको ज़्यादा नेगेटिविटी से बचा सकता है. नया स्टॉप लॉस ट्रिगर करके नया ट्रेड पे कॉन्सेंट्रेट कर सकते हो. It also helps you to be more disciplined. Maintaining a stop loss is all about discipline, and the more disciplined you are in the market, the longer you will survive. And every day is a brand new day. So if you lose, if you're choosing the wrong strike price, you got the markets wrong, you read the markets wrong, it's okay. You have another opportunity tomorrow or multiple opportunities the next day, right? So these are the rules I follow, and maybe this will help you with the expiry day tomorrow, with keeping in mind the data sets that we discussed today and the rules that I have that I follow. So maybe you can, take a view on what you've learned today and implement it tomorrow. Real world trading, yes, these are the points again which we adhere to, and make sure that this is never, we never go out of these aspects where you analyze the data right. Most important thing, strike selection, especially during expiry day, because on any other day, even if you take a wrong strike, let's say instead of an ATM you go a little far off, the chances are you will still not lose that much money, because time is in your favor and the option may not deteriorate that much. But on expiry day you will not have that chance, right? Time to expiry and series selection is very important. Strategy, behavior, the three Greeks that we discussed, the delta, the theta, and vega, right? Those important factors, and knowing when to exit, when to keep, where to keep stop losses, and the profit booking levels. If you follow these rules, you will definitely survive in the market for a longer period of time, especially if you are more disciplined. And by following this, you also will sharpen your own skills in data analysis, open interest, gauging open interest, looking at the option reads, and as I said, you would probably have more profitable trades in the long run. So that's about it. I hope you take some points from what you learned today and implement it tomorrow, since tomorrow is the weekly expiry. Uh, Please feel free to ask any of the questions what you have, and I'll be glad to answer them. So someone has asked about the significance of the change in OI. For example, um, let's say the change in OI in the call open interest is at 7 lakhs, which is the addition. During the day, what really happens is it goes down to 6 lakhs. Okay, that is a significant amount of change. But however, that alone does not signify the direction of the market. What you also have to see is the put writers as well. Where have they contributed, or has the put writing increased? Because They will only write when they are confident that the market will not, move against them, right? So along with the reduction in a particular strike or you also need to see where the addition has been made on the opposite direction. Okay, that is something that you have to keep in mind. How do you keep a stop loss? So, for example, let's say you buy an option for 100 rupees and you're looking to make, and you think the option will go to 130 or 140. Okay. So, when you have a target of 140, then your stop loss should ideally be 80, a max of 80. So, so at least, 1:2 is your risk reward ratio. So this is what we follow. And what happens is, the 20 rupee loss may not hit you much. And again, if let's say the option goes up above 120 or 130, you can always, move your stop loss from 100 to 110 or 115 and play the ride. So you can change your stop losses. So this is is pretty much this is pretty much it. So I hope you enjoyed the session. What should be a good rule for position size? The rule is make sure that you know what you're getting into, what is the risk profile, because each person's risk profile is different. Someone might do 20 lots, some may be comfortable with 10 lots. Then again, are you a buyer or are you a seller? That is important. So if you're a seller, since the margins are high and if your positions are not hedged, the margins will obviously be high, and uh, you may not be able to take that many lots. Vis-a-vis, if you're a buyer, for the same amount, the quantity can be much much more higher. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed the session. Thank you very much again for joining us.